Hello, everyone. So we have a full house. I'm so excited. We have Kieth from Kieth Costumes, and we have John. Now, John, say your last name for me, even though I know many people know how to say it. Say it for me.
John Putch rhymes with Dutch.
Dutch. And we have Dustin, and is it Rikert? Am I saying it correctly?
Yep,
Yay,
right.
I remembered. So we're here because we're going to talk about the holiday touchdown movie, the making of it. Now, of course, the stars I found were nice and lovely and important, but I feel like you guys are like more important.
Thank you.
I have an introductory question.
Go ahead, Kathy.
How did you choose the Kansas City Chiefs versus, for example, a winning team like the Chicago Bears?
Or the Eagles, because I'm a Philly girl.
That's a Dustin question.
Well, that was actually chosen for us before Putch, Kieth, or I were brought onto the project. There was obviously the Chiefs are going through a bit of a renaissance, much like my beloved Pats did years ago in that long stretch run, and the Chiefs are finding themselves in the same admirable position. And Tyler Hines, the NFL actually did a spoof on Hallmark films, but it was capitalizing on their popularity. And it was so well received that Hallmark took notice, and they actually said, hey, we should actually do a movie about this. And for those that don't know, Hallmark, the corporate office, all the cards, they own Crayola, they own all that, as well as the film division. Their corporate office is in Kansas City, and as are the Chiefs. So the two brands, these iconic brands, wanted to come together and do something together, and that was serendipity. And then you couple that with the romance that was brewing right around the same time, with Travis and you know who, Taylor, and it all kind of came together, and it came together very fast. And Putch and I found ourselves getting phone calls to reteam the three of us. It was our third movie together.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of found ourselves in the enviable position of doing some of their tent poles every year, and they kind of assembled an all-star team to do it again.
Which is nice. I noticed that. And I love it because we didn't realize this at first, Kathy, and we were just randomly picking things that we like and we wanted to talk. And we're like, wait a minute, these are the same people. So we must like your work. And so when I was like, you're out again. Oh my God, I can't wait. You also have another movie, right? It's what is it? Christmas Quest. What's the name of it?
Christmas Quest. Yeah. Christmas Quest. Lacey Chabert and Chris Palaha.
Yes. Yeah. That was on the other night.
Yeah.
So they all came out in a lump.
I set my DVR. I haven't seen it yet, Dustin, but it's coming. It's catching it. The next airing, I'm going to see it.
Okay, great.
And Kieth, you said that you wished it was spread out, so we could.
I do and I don't. I mean, because Dustin also did the Finish Line with me. We did Finish Line Quest and then Touchdown. So yeah, I mean, I love that it's all together, but at the same time, I kind of wish it was like over the course of like 3 weekends. But
it was a bit of we got gobsmacked with it. It was a great problem to have. We were on one of their biggest weekends, and they're all very different films, which is very nice. There's no real competition in terms of the storylines or the films themselves. They're all incredibly well-made films, and they're all very unique. And what I love most about all three of them is Hallmark really let us push the boundaries, like going into new territory. And so that was what was nice about the three of them. And Holiday Touchdown is no different in a lot of ways. I mean, the access that we were given and that Putch was able to take advantage of as a director quite wonderfully, I might add. The film looked amazing, looked beautiful. Had some wonderful cinematography in there by Andy Rawson. It was just a beautiful movie. So kudos to you, Putch. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it since it aired. So
what were some of the challenges? I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we'll catch up off this call.
I was wondering what were some of the challenges that you might not face directing other kinds of films, being that you had to deal with the football stadium and all those kinds of scenes.
Well, because of the high stakes nature of the NFL and the Chiefs, you really are the three of us were basically told, okay, you've got Coach Andy Reid for 30 minutes on this day in this time slot, and if you don't get him in that time, you will be drawn and quartered and fired. So there was a lot of because of all the cameos, we really couldn't control the schedule like a normal movie would do. We had to literally hear when they were available or when we could get them. We would request, can we have them this day for this, in this block? But normally, would come back, no, you can only have them this particular time. So because of that, the scheduling of the movie shooting itself had to be built around those people that were important cameos. And that's what we did. And that's what you do. And so, there was bumps in the road because of that. But, there's always some bump, there's multiple bumps along the way. So you just deal with it. But that was one of the things that was different. And the other thing was the incredible oppressive heat that we had to endure in July in Kansas City when everybody was dressed as snowbound, characters. There were knit caps and, fleeces and jackets, and people were like, and even the extras who, God bless them, came out and, in the direct sun for like hours that day. We were at Arrowhead shooting the outdoor stuff. They literally just showed up and wore that stuff. It was amazing. Wow. So that was hard. I mean, that was really, that day we were all out there with 100 degrees with 4 units going.
4 units.
Yeah, 4 units of filming going. Dustin was doing visual effects and extras shooting with his own crew. I was doing, the actors and the cameos, and and there was like there were like 3 other cameras going, getting other stuff. That was great. We did all that, but it was 100 degrees. Wow. And there was no shade, and it was humid. And I literally was like walking around going, oh my God, I can't move. This is like slow motion. So it was really, really wild, the elements. But, the Chiefs' kingdom, holy smokes. Cheering, laughing, putting their coats on, didn't care. Did not care. Those fans are amazing. That's all I got to say.
And, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask Keith a quick question. Don't lose that foot. When it's that hot like that and they're in their clothing, what do you have to do to make sure they don't sweat it up? Like, what do you do?
I mean, there's only so much you can do at a point. We do a lot of like ice packs that people put in like the waistbands of like their pants and like their lower back, so it goes up their back. Fans, obviously, in between. I work a lot with hair and makeup to help fan people. Some of the jackets, if I can, I try to pull out some of the stuffing so it isn't as heavy, but you also don't want to ruin the shape of a jacket. Right. So there's only like so much you can do. I know at the stadium days, the 50-yard tunnel, even though it's kind of exterior, was still air conditioned. So a lot of people would dive in there really quick if they could. But yeah, I mean, when it's 100 or it's 100 and feels like 110, there's only so much you can do. Anybody. Yeah, and I mean, I felt horrible for Abraham, who played Santa, because he was in like and of course I was like, oh my God, it's a beautiful Santa suit because it's like real wool. But of course it's real wool and then it's 110 degrees. But
Abe had like he was mopping he had a hanky, like Jackie Gleason used to have in the old days. He was just like he was literally pulling that out, mopping his head at every second. Makeup,
like Putch said, nobody complained. I don't think I got one complaint.
Yeah, I agree. No one complained. We were all there.
They were amazing.
It's great.
And I was just going to say,
Abraham Ben Ruby. I'm sorry, I keep doing this. Go ahead.
There's a lot of us.
It's your show. You say anything you like.
Just speaking of Abraham Ben Ruby, the actors and actresses playing the parents and the grandparents was like tiptoeing through my youth. I could not believe the familiar faces and the talent.
Yeah.
How did that come about that you got that pool of talent all in one place for one movie? I could not. I kept going, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so.
Putch had worked. I would say more than half the talent on there was kudos to Putch's connections from all his procedural TV days and all the film work he'd done in his career. So really, it was Putch's fantastic career that that brought a lot of those people to the table. So
there were, I give a list to Dustin and Samantha and Candace of all the friends that I have worked with that I believe would, want to be in the movie and like me enough to maybe it would tip the scales in our favor, even though, the money's not great. And, I give them my lists. Here's who I know. And then they go over them, go, oh, we like these people, these people, these people. And then their list of the same. Sometimes they provide our list. And Dustin and I know a lot of the same people. So his list, I'd look at my list and goes, oh, I know. We know. He knows Abe Ben Ruby's a friend as well. Let's get Abe. We got two of us now that want Abe. So let's pitch it up above. And thankfully, everybody loved that idea. So you just take what you can. But I was very pleased that Hallmark recognized, the TVQ of Megan Price and Richard Reilly and Diedrich Bader, and of course Ed was standalone. I mean, Ed was on the Hallmark list, and then I went, whoa, I know Ed. Is there
Richard Real? Richard was incredible.
Yeah, Richard, I called directly and I said, is there any way you would come do this? Because everybody wants you. And of course, John, I come do that. And so, he's so I was real happy about that. But it's like we all band our lists together as we do, producers, directors, and whatever. And network, and we all who can, and then if they like someone that I happen to have a connection with or Dustin has a connection with, they literally say, okay, go ahead, call your friend and see if we can call him up and offer him the job. And it's sort of like it really helps because people really, no matter how much work you've done, I think if you're a journeyman television actor or actress, I think you want to work, and and so it's sort of okay to ask, and everyone knows these aren't large budgets, and everyone knows there's not a ton of money for them. So, it's literally electively their choice to participate and have a good time. And all I can offer if I talk to them privately beforehand is that I'm here. You're going to have a very comfortable time, and everyone is nice here. That's literally what you say. And then you get your really nice people together. I mean, Kieth he met some of these people for the same, for the first time. I mean, how did you enjoyed them? Did you not, Kieth?
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite casts. But
friendly group, really friendly group. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was just watching an interview with Megan and Diedrich and Ed. They were like, oh yeah, we all knew each other. So it was just like a good old get together, which is nice to be around. Because normally people, not that they don't get along, but like they're just like hiding in their trailer or this or that. But everybody here really liked each other. Yeah. Which was like helpful and comforting.
Yeah.
Kieth, when you're looking at the script and envisioning the costumes, do you develop the vision at that point, or do you kind of have something in mind, then you meet the actor and that may inform or change how you envision it, or how does that process work?
The actor definitely does change it because I was taught, and I do believe you dress for the face. So that changes everything, and also proportion changes everything. With this one was interesting because I didn't want it to look like I just went to the Chiefs store and just bought all this Chiefs stuff. So I wanted to have, and Daniel, who was our production designer, is so great. Like he does such a good job of Christmas and like the decor, and then like I knew the fan shop was gonna have all this Chiefs stuff. So
He froze. He'll come back.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. Everybody like was spinning for a second.
That's okay. You're there.
You're talking about Daniel and the Chiefs shop. You knew it was going to have all the decor.
Yeah, so I kind of, with my Christmas movies, I entrust the production designer to put Christmas in the background so that, and on the set, so that I don't need to necessarily put them in red or green. So I took the same approach with the Chiefs of, there's Chiefs things all around us. We're in Arrowhead. We know it's about the Chiefs. I don't necessarily need to put every single person in a Chiefs branded thing. But yeah, I mean, I always say the first script I get, I usually like throw it over my shoulder just because there's always rewrites and things. But I usually use it as like a base. And then the second draft, I do a lot of scribbling of just like my general thoughts. And then you get casting, and then it evolves and it evolves and it evolves. And we have lots of conversations about it. But yeah, no, in the Chiefs movie, we had a good mix because we had a dress moment. We had a lot of casual stuff. The sports element was like a cool thing to play with, the branding element. You talked about challenges before, and Putch mentioned the NFL. That was an interesting challenge in the way that everything had to be like an official NFL license, especially when we were doing the opening. Like all those things had to be like cleared of like making sure like the branding was appropriate and like cleared. So that was a different kind of beast to tackle.
Is that an annoying thing for you? Or, I mean, did it take more time? Did it result in slowing you down to a huge degree?
Not slowing me down, but it would have, I mean, if I didn't have to think about it, I probably would have used other things because some things were nixed. But I get it. I mean, it's a brand. I get it.
Yeah.
I do have to say, though, considering the giant brands we were working with in the NFL and the Chiefs, and under basically the same time constraints as every other Hallmark movie, I was shocked at how efficient we were all able to be. I mean, that's why we assembled the team that we had, and we all get along really well. But I do have to say, on the NFL and Chiefs side, they opened up. You know, I was expecting way more red tape and way more blockades than we got. They did everything in their power to push things through very fast. So kudos to them.
I agree. I didn't deal with the NFL at all. I mean, you and David Wolf did, but the Chiefs side we dealt with exclusively, and we were just hosted and treated and given absolute all access and support to make the movie. I mean, I feel like I have friends in the Chiefs front office because of this movie. You know, I mean, I'm still texting with the marketing and sales department people who were like in the movie, in the conference room scenes. That was Chiefs. Those were Chiefs employees.
I was wondering that. That was a question I wanted to ask. That's so cool.
Yeah, anyone who was not the speaking role in those conference room scenes were Chiefs, you know, front office, you know, sales and marketing team.
That's cool.
And they were all just so great. And they like literally, it's just like they'd been on camera their entire lives. They were not nervous. They just did their thing. And they were so fun to be around. And then all they did was help us, you know, every step of the way. And I loved them for it. And, you know, it made it easy. It just made it like I've never had access. I mean, we had great access at Biltmore for Biltmore Christmas last year, but it was a different kind of access. It was an access with an asterisk. You could only come in at this time, and you can't touch the walls, and you can't look at over there in that direction, but you can make your movie here. But the Chiefs was like, what do you need? Let's go over here. Where do you want to shoot? And we did it, and God bless them.
Now, we have a question. I want you to talk. Go ahead, Dustin, because we cut you off before. So
no. I was going to answer the question. The question is, how much lead time and prep do you have once you have the script before the cast arrives? And the answer is 3 weeks.
Okay, I think I remember you telling us that before. Yeah.
We all hit the ground about 3 weeks out, and that's when the ticking time bomb starts. And the ship leaves when the ship heads out to sea, there's no getting back on it. So it's sink or swim.
This entire movie was scheduled around 3 days of shooting at Arrowhead Stadium. At the Chiefs. The entire film was scheduled around those 3 days that we were allowed to do what we were doing, either in the front offices building, the stadium, and the grounds. And that was it. And everything had to be built around that, because there was Kenny Chesney concert coming in. There was like they put floorboards down on the whole thing. They had a monster truck show in prior to that. I mean, we were literally
They had World Cup. The World Cup.
They had World Cup. We had literally, we were like slotted in like we were scheduled like an event. So as a result, you know, everything had to fall into that position. And when you have actors like Ed Begley Jr., you know, and all the, you know, our stars we had, our number one and two, we had the whole time. But you got Ed, you got all these, you know, special appearance people. All of a sudden, those dates, they need to be on at those dates. But if, you know, the agent says, well, he's doing another show on the day of the blah, blah, blah. And like, what can you change the thing? And you can't. So you literally are going, oh my God, we're going to lose Ed if we don't get him, you know, if we don't find a way to shoot him, get him to us on the day we need him. So that's where Dustin and I come in and sit down and figure out how to make the script work in a way that we can. But that's what you do. You know, you're gonna shoot with the NFL and the Chiefs. That's the number one thing you're working through is like those 3 days. Then the rest, it becomes, you know, normal movie making around town in Independence, Missouri.
Yeah. It sounds stressful, but it's probably
very
also exciting too, because you did it.
You just do it. You don't complain. There's no time. You just do it, right, Dustin?
100%.
And then Kieth, he complains a lot, but he does it anyway. No, I'm kidding. I'm just.
And then you add the Today Show. Why not? While they're filming, while we're filming.
Oh my God, we had the Today Show there, and we're trying to get Andy Reid for our 30 minutes. Jenna Bush Hager's over there interviewing, you know, Andy, you know, for the Today Show spot, and we're like standing there waiting. Okay, we're ready we're doing Andy. Like, get over here, you know. And he literally turns from her, walks over to me and the first AD Brooks, and we walk him right to his mark and say, okay, here's what you're doing, and do it, and then take pictures, and then he leaves.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Robin is thanking you for your answer, and she says, amazing collaboration. It seems all around, which just helps for the success of this movie. I loved it, and so congrats to you all. Now, I wanted to share. I think we're going to get smaller because I'm going to share my slides if I can make my slides work. I have so many people in here. I have to there we go. And these are some costume things. Now, some of the stuff I get from Hallmark Media that they share with us, and some I just ran and watched on my TV just so we could talk here, Kieth. Mm-hmm. So we were talking a little bit behind the scenes. So this is like this hat. So we can actually go purchase this hat at Hallmark stores. And I know you said you did not design it, but did you know what it was going to be like? Did they tell you ahead of time or what? They just send it to you?
They just told me that they designed the hat and they were sending it. We only had 3 of them, which was scary because, like I was saying, like in the movie, like they lose the hat. I was like, oh God, I hope we don't lose the hat, because we only had one that was aged for like the old stuff. But yeah, so that's like, it's an official, you know, Hallmark and Kansas City Chief license 47, which you see on the side. They sent me a ton of other stuff for other principal casts because they do a lot of the branded merchandise.
They did send me photo references of the prototypes, right? I think a couple weeks out, they said, here's what the hat actually is going to look like.
Yeah.
That helped you set your color palette and some of your tones, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, and I do like that it's like a thicker knit, just because it's like nicer and more classic for the story, so that worked out really well.
How about the color palette of red and yellow, Kieth?
I mean,
it's like everything was red and yellow,
as it should be.
Yeah.
I stole this from you, and this was a really nice thing that you put on Instagram. I loved it. So what is this? What are we looking at with this patch of yours?
By the way, can I just say, thank God there's audio visual for Kieth's stuff, because Dustin and I have nothing like this for your show. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So when we were filming, there was a lot of locals and stuff were around taking pictures and things, and the internet got a hold of the jacket that Hunter wears at the end. So I, with the cheerleading of my tailor April, did a version of it. It is not the exact same. I know everyone's like, it looks exactly the same. It does not. The pattern is completely different.
Yes.
And I named it the Letterman coat. And I actually genuinely love like Letterman jackets. And it's on my website for sale. And there's probably only going to be like 100 of them ever. I literally bought 250 yards of fabric, and I say about 100. It could be 101. It could be 99. We'll find out. But yeah. And it's a really super exclusive and crazy thing, but yes, some have sold. So it's not for everybody, but
we're going to look it up, some of us. So tell them where we can find this.
I'm at kiethcostumes.com. So I keep it easy.
I've seen it, but I think that those that are familiar, I mean, I've been on the website. I think those that have popped in before, maybe last year, they might know, but I'll make sure I make a post so everyone can go check it out. All right. Now that's cool. This is so cool to know this. What is this?
That's me in the middle of the field. So it's actually, and the two of you can also attest to this. I mean, a full stadium is one thing, but also an empty stadium is quite impactful. And then on the other side of it too, at the pro shop, you can get custom jerseys. So of course I had to get one that said costume.
Okay. All right. And that's what you did, because it says costume, I think, right? And then number 1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty incredible thing when you arrive there and the place is yours. I mean, we had to make it look like it was filled with 80,000 people. We had about 500 extras that we had to do a lot of visual effects with and make it look like there was 80,000. But during the tech scouts and on the filming day, I think, we get there early, and I remember Putch and I looking at each other thinking, this is pretty cool. I mean, who gets to be in Arrowhead Stadium all painted up, and there you are at the ground level? Not many people get that. So it was pretty awesome.
I got some great behind the scenes video I've been posting on my Facebook feed, of shooting here and around the town. It's anytime you'd get inside the Stadium Bowl, you were just looking around going, oh my God, I got to take a photo of this, or like, I got to get a shot of me in this, and we were all doing that the entire time.
That's neat.
There's also some hysterical vignettes that Putch has put together on his feed that are absolutely hysterical because they're so true. The tropes of filmmaking. It's hysterical.
And this is on Facebook, right? Facebook?
Yeah, they're on Facebook and Instagram. Just Putch Films.
Okay.
One word, Putch Films. Yeah.
We're going to look.
Okay.
Now, I chose this one, Kieth, because that was, and you kind of answered it already. I was like, this could not be you having to design all of this stuff. This has to be like merch that they have the official and they send it to you. Is that correct? Yes.
Well, so you see in Ed's hand, that's the real hat, which is the one you can purchase. Now in the story, since they lose it and then like they look under their seats and then it's like a tribute to the family and the lucky hat, they have like their version of it. So those we had 700 made to look like, which are the ones that they're wearing. So that was us. But the original hat was corporate.
So did everybody that wore the hat, did they get to keep it?
No.
What do you do with all those hats now?
It's branded material. It's special for Hollywood.
Okay. I love it. I love it. And then that was just like the jersey that I was like, yes, every time you turn around, somebody had something different on. And you are correct. Orange. That orangey, yellow, and red was everywhere. So
that's
this
Chiefs.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm okay with that. So I'll tell you a quick story that some people already know. I'm a teacher and I teach in Vineland, New Jersey. And I had a student whose name is Isaiah. And Isaiah came back after he was in college, and he's a big football player. And he came back and he surprised me and my colleagues and my team by giving back. And they came in. We were asked to fill out this wish list, and I didn't know what was happening. So I was in charge of our team. So I'm making the list. I'm like, what do you want? And then they came back and said, you can have more. And I'm like, more? What is this? So I'm like, can you imagine if we got everything? We just wished for all kinds of stuff. And then one day we get called down to an assembly, and it comes in like on a hand truck, and he's Isaiah and some of the other kiddos, they're going down the hallway with it. I'm like, oh my God, it's you. That's so wonderful. This is Isaiah, who plays for the Chiefs.
Isaiah Pachenko?
Yes, he was
wow.
a wow. Yes.
Wow.
And
we saw him play last Friday night. He's incredible.
Yeah. So I'm like, my dad loves that. My dad I have pictures of it, and he would keep it on his phone, and he'd say, that's my daughter and her student.
Nice.
So anyway, the colors, I'm okay with the colors. I love it. I love it. Now, do you have to, Keith, did you have to dress this man, or did he dress himself? Because he's a big guy.
It's funny. I got a lot of those questions. With a lot of these cameos, since they were in training, like we literally, like Putch was saying, got them for like X amount of time, and that's it. And that includes me. Like, I didn't get fittings of any kind. So it was going back and forth with them and their team. And Trey's manager was awesome. He was like, Trey has all these suits, just Google them and tell him what you want him to wear. So we Googled, and I was like, I like this one. Same with him, same with McCall. I sent a bunch of stuff to Tammy Reed. Just because that's just the way it goes with like high profile stuff. Like, they have other stuff going on, and I couldn't get him for a fitting. So
he looks fabulous. I mean,
yeah,
he's fat. I mean, and a lot of them, gosh, we see them all the time strutting in with their casual wear. That's amazing. So I was just thinking, on a whim, you can't just, he's a big man. I mean,
that was another thing too. It was like, I'm happy to dress anybody for the needs of the movie. It's just, it takes, a fitting and tailoring and things like that, especially with like a football player with broad shoulders.
Right.
But no, everybody that cameoed was super cool with it and super great and happy. They were all happy to be in the movie. So anything beyond that, they were happy to oblige.
And okay, so it was so hard. I feel like, and I don't know who was in charge of this, I wish that this dress was not covered up so much. She was, when he walks in and he's like, oh, wow, you look beautiful. And I'm like, in your fancy coat, I can't see your fancy dress. Maybe he was talking about her hair and her face, and that's okay. And then later on, we do see her for a minute, taking a picture, and then it's covered up again when they're ice skating. And I'm like, this dress was beautiful. I mean, now, what can you tell us about this dress? Do you have anything to do with that?
Yes. I designed it. But I like how when he says you're beautiful, like, I like the reveal aspect of it. So when they take the picture, it reveals it in the party. Yes, personally. It does. So that part I like. That dress, it's kind of originally in filmmaking, talking about how much prep time we have. We don't have a lot of time. Right. And actually making clothes takes a long time.
Yes.
So I had found a dress that was originally like 3/4 length, and it was like bright Chiefs red, and I thought it was great, but not everybody was feeling it. And then now that I look back at it, I'm like, okay, you're right. It kind of wasn't that special. If we're going to do like a dress moment for Cocktail, but I loved the seaming on the top, which I was obsessed with. So I just stole the top and then did a new skirt. And then I had found that fabric, which I loved, because then I did it red to gold, so it could contrast with Hunter's hair. And then it ends off with gold shoes, which are really nice. So it's like, it is an ode to the Chiefs, but it's also not bright red, so it doesn't like.
I thought the color was perfect. Yes, and
the makeup department hates me always. They love me, but they hate me because the sparkles just get everywhere, and there's like a random sparkle somewhere. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. Yeah,
and
it's
I think
kind of a little bit of a.
Sorry, go ahead, Keith. Go ahead.
It's a little bit of a Taylor Swift nod. It kind of looks like the 1989 era, but that's all I was gonna say.
That's okay.
I had glitter on my cheek a couple of times while directing the scene from this dress.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go,
Justin.
go.
Sorry, there's a lot of people. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Putch did a perfect job, actually, with how much to show the dress. And here's why: it left you wanting more.
Yeah.
And he services. The great thing about Putch is his main priority is to service the script. And we're dealing in winter. And when you're outdoors, they need to be wearing a jacket. They come in, so he's very practical. Everybody loved the dress. The comments have been off the hook, but it also he left you wanting a little bit more. So I think it was me personally. I think it was the perfect balance. I get wanting to see it, but then it would have gone the other way. We would have gotten a million complaints. Oh, you're filming the movie in the summer, and why are they not wearing jackets?
So
we can't win.
Okay, you can't. You cannot win. This is true. Now, is this one on display? Is this going to be on display, Kieth?
I know that one was on display during the premiere the other night, and I believe this week it's going into the Kansas City Visitor Center.
Right. Okay, which is a good thing.
Maybe it'll be in Biltmore too. You never know. It'll be on display there.
I'm into it.
Keith, is there ever a need to not recycle, but to use any of the dresses or costumes in other movies for actresses of similar proportion?
Yeah, what happens to the clothes, Kieth, when the movie's done?
A mixture of things. Some things like this coat. This coat was actually lent to me, and then so certain things go back. Certain things, sometimes the actors buy them. Sometimes they go into storage for possible display and things. But Kathy, I don't reuse just because it's like specific to the story and the character, and also like, I don't know. I don't want to be that person that like, I don't know. It just doesn't work. If you reuse it, I want to like, as a creator, I want to like create something new and fresh that works for like, and makes it special for like the movie.
Okay. Now, I love, like Cindy is in our chat here and she said, I love this coat with the bows. This coat, what really attracted to me were the colors. She's got the gold underneath and then she has a red coat, right? Mm-hmm. This coat with those bows, did you add them or is that the coat and how it came?
That's the coat. And actually, Jenna Claire Mason from our other film, A Holiday Spectacular, introduced me to this brand, May, New York. And she had sent it to me and I was like, oh my God, it's like the perfect Christmas coat. And I've known about her for probably over a year, but I just never had it just never really fit, or I was international. So,
right.
And then I was like, oh my God, I need the coat. And actually the bows are technically on the original coat. They're fake buttons and they snap, but because we wear it open, I made them into like buttons that you kind of have to finagle. But yeah, no, it's a great piece.
I love it. I was like, oh, can I go like Google that and see if I can find a coat like that? That's I love the collar. I love the collar.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Go ahead. Was someone
I was just saying the coat was gorgeous.
It is. So I just took this because I love it because they had some fun sweaters on here. They came either, different various characters wore crazy fun sweaters that reminded me of like the late 80s, early 90s, like when I was really young. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing this not just in this movie, but in other movies too. So is this vintage, this sweater, or these sweaters? Were they new?
They're new. It's a brand called Keel James Patrick. I had used them before and then they sent us a bunch. And I like them mainly. They look vintagey and not like super new, but they're very classic and not ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
More like kind of classy Christmas sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, Megan's dress that in this picture is by the same brand. Nice. And by the way, just randomly, Megan's like the funniest person ever.
She's cute. She's cute in the movie. Now, this is another coat. I mean, this girl, Kathy, you and I noticed this before. Like, how many coats does one person have?
I know, right?
I like to feed into the fantasy of it all. So the more
there you go. And like the ladies in the Hallmark movies with the $3 million apartments, and they're working as personal assistants. Like, come on! But you're right. It feeds the fantasy.
We call it aspirational.
Yes.
I just thought it was that if you think about it, she has really good taste, right? And she's a lot of wonderful coats. I'm lucky if I can find one coat that I like. She's got like 7.
Well, that's why we like these things,
Yeah. Yes. And then we want to go shopping and looking for them too. Now, do you see that little purse that she has, Kieth?
Yeah, it's Judith Lieber.
It is. I knew it was because I found a knockoff one and I'm like, yeah, no. I looked at that like up close and I'm like, no, she's got the expensive designer one, doesn't she?
Yeah, she had sent me a picture because she was texting me about what to wear. And then she sent me the bag and I was like, it's Judith Lieber, right? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I love playing the guessing game. I think it's fun.
Yeah. And so she has this on. So she dressed herself, right? And then that's her little purse. And she sent it to you for what? For like,
I mean, we're friends. So we were just
Yeah.
texting because I was like nosy and I was like, what are you wearing? Because I dressed Tyler. So I was curious what she was wearing to make sure they kind of work together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Beautiful.
Kieth, you had you worked with Hunter before? You probably had. Oh, you had not. And what about Tyler? Had you worked with some? Okay, interesting.
That was something I was going to ask. Yeah.
Well, it just occurred to me. So they're two of the top Hallmark stars, are they not, Dustin?
Yeah.
That's so. And then they were coupled with the top Hallmark, costume designer. Did they accord you the respect you deserve?
Oh dear gosh.
They did. The two of them on their press tour have been so good to me. So absolutely.
All right, good. Well, listen, the reason I say this, Roxanne, is because you've got one of the most talented costume designers on your show I've ever seen in my entire career. And I'm an old guy and I've been doing this a long time. And this guy is not only, amazingly clever and talented and knows his way around a budget and gorgeousness, but he's like the most delightful person to be around and work with. So if anyone doesn't understand that, I'm here to say this is the guy. So, and if anyone's watching this that like can hire him to be, design their costumes, this is like you do have to do nothing except nod and go, this is wonderful,
Yeah, he never holds up a set either.
No.
That's my biggest thing.
Well, that's how we've been trained, right? I mean, when you do a 15-day movie, you can't do anything but service the schedule,
Right, all of us,
yeah, all of us, we have to do it. So if you're clever and you know how to do the ins and outs and shortcuts and still show your brilliance and talent, that's what we do. So he's an amazing asset. I don't do these movies without him, and if they ever asked me to, I would probably not, because him and Dustin are two of my I need them. They're in my contract. I need to have them there. If I don't have them there, I don't want to do it.
Those are the M&Ms without the green M&Ms in them. That's all part of the contract.
Yeah, and I don't. And Andy's the same. Our director of photography, who did beautiful work on Biltmore and now this, and there's and Brooks, our first AD, which we all have worked with for many years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have these people, I don't want to be there. So. I said it. Sorry, I said it.
Now, Kieth, when you were on before, I'll never forget, you shared some fun stories for the Biltmore, and you were saying, I guess something happened with one of the actors that was supposed to be a sailor, and I guess the costume fit you, right? So you wore the costume and you did the part, right? In the background or something?
Yeah, I didn't. Mainly because I was dying of heat, and also it was a big undertaking. It is, anytime I cameo in a movie, everyone's like, "Oh, you're having fun," and it's like, it is fun, but I'm also doing my job.
Yes.
So I didn't have time to be in Touchdown. Dustin threw me in Finish Line randomly. He was like, "Kieth, put on a coat," and I walked down the stairs.
And it was my idea to put you in Biltmore.
Yes. It was, yes.
And it couldn't have been more delightful. Got me through the day.
And it was the last day, so it was fun to do. But yeah, I'm not in Touchdown, but I mean, my mark is everywhere. But
you're in Quest. You're the coat check guy in Quest.
I got to look for that.
Yeah.
Really?
At the gala, when they arrive at the gala.
I'm gonna
I
look.
think
the
the next movie, Dustin, if we ever do one together again, which I hope we do, we need to be
Me too.
somewhere in there together. We should be,
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We should.
camera passes by and we're just the two idiots standing there pointing at something, or something.
Or sitting at a bar having a cocktail.
Okay, I'll
better.
do that.
That one's good. That's a good one. So is this a set or is this a real place? Because I thought that the sets and just the whole experience felt like it was real.
It was a store in Independence called Wild About Harry's, and it was dressed. Yes, it is a real store, a real location. And Daniel Koenig, our production designer, dressed it with, made it look like this. He brought in this little counter, but the walls and everything were just filled with Chiefs stuff.
Cool.
But it is a real store, and it's on Main Street in Independence, Missouri, and it's called Wild About Harry's.
And this wasn't the only one. Now, what about Norma and Nick's? Is that an actual place?
Yes. Yeah, there were no sets built for this movie, Roxanne.
Wow.
None. Everything was practical.
And so there's Mama. There she is, Kelsey.
Yeah, this was a pizza restaurant also on the same block, and they were great. And it had a nice big room, and it looked good. And we turned it into Norma and Nick's.
That's cute. And they joked and called it it was the newbie. Is that something that they have down there? Like he said he had never had Kansas City barbecue, so she called it the newbie. Is that like, how did that get into the script? Something funny, or is that a thing?
No, the writer Julie Wolfe wrote that in. It was, he was never had barbecue before, so she called him a Norma Nick newbie.
All right.
So, meaning never been there before, as we know. So
okay.
Yeah.
And then what about this, Hank and Marty's Hardware?
Yeah, that's an ode to Hank Stram and Marty Schottenheimer.
Okay.
And it was a sign we needed for, one of those outdoor decorating scenes.
When they were going to light up the block. That was cute. I like that.
Yeah. So we needed a hardware store. So yeah.
And that was a set. That's a set right there.
Yeah, we built that. Can't you tell? Yeah.
No, that's not why I put that up. I put that up because is this that kind of drone type effect? Because there's even a scene where the two of them sit in one of the seats and Hearst family seats, and then it pulls away and you're like in the air getting this whole big aerial view. Is that what you're doing?
That was a drone shot. Yes, the one you're referring to, but the one you have pictured, I believe, is footage given to us by the NFL or the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the real deal. Are you in the real building?
Yes, that opening shot where we follow the actress through the offices until she comes upon Tyler's desk is the actual sales and marketing department of the Chiefs, and so all that stuff is on the walls, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to shoot there is because wow, look at all this stuff on the walls. It says Chiefs everywhere, and it's decorated, so really didn't have to do much except turn on some lights and do the job.
Okay, now this is when they're all putting on the hats. You said you had about 500 fans come out. Kathy, weren't you asking me? You were telling me something earlier. What did you think this was?
CGI, you mean, or?
Yes. Did you?
Yeah, I thought maybe they populated the stadium using CGI, or did you really have thousands of people?
No, we did, but a shot that you're showing now, that's real. Those are all real people. But any super wide shot, Dustin and his miracle visual effects department and crew, duplicated all the people and added them, and it was fantastic how it turned out.
Okay, that's cute,
right, Dustin?
Well, yeah, that was a tough thing because when we shot it was the dead of summer, and there were so many angles that we actually had to start and restart all shots like these a bunch of times over. In fact, Putch and I went back for a preseason game in the hopes of trying to get plate shots to be able to assist with the population of the stadium, but it was still so hot. Everybody was wearing t-shirts and everything. So we even scrapped that. So there's only actually 2 shots from that second unit attempt that made it in the movie, and the rest is literally CGI. So all these wide shots are CGI.
Right. Like you could see them all back there.
Yeah.
Do you know, just off the top of your head, how many cameos were in this movie? Because they
Wait a minute. If you go back to that other picture, this is George Karloftis. This guy's an animal. If you know how he's playing, he's unbelievable. He's the next Bosa brother, you know, or TJ Watt brother. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the running back in the middle there, and there's McCall Hardman, who had, you know, a nice cameo in that party scene, you know, where he holds up his rings and says Merry Christmas. These guys were great. They were so fun, and I loved talking to McCall, number 17, about Coach Reed. I said, what's the deal with, you know, what's it like with Andy Reid? And he said, there's only 2 coaches I've ever known, and everyone talks about that all you want is them to pat you on the back and say, good job. And it's Andy Reid and it's Coach Bill Belichick, which I found really interesting.
That's
and,
cool.
you know, just while you're waiting for setup, you're standing there. If you're a football fan like we are, or I am, you're talking to these guys about all the stuff that you want to know, you know? It was fantastic. Anyway, then Coach Reed came and we just had a great time with him.
I know. So right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, just right there. There's like so many. I never saw so many cameos.
There's Mary.
I know. I put this in because she was also in Biltmore. I think she had like she was like the director or something, and I love her because it's Aaron Walton.
That's right. This is an old friend of mine. I've known Mary since I was a kid. We used to date actually in the 80s, and we were child actors together. And you know, Mary's done Hallmarks before. She actually wrote a book that they optioned and created into a movie at one point years ago. Cool. And you know, you want a Walton in your cast. I mean, it's like having a Star Trek character in your cast as well. I mean, you know, there's people of our age and older that remember the Waltons, and
I love the Waltons.
Yeah, I'm so glad you recognized her. Mary's the great actress.
Sweetheart.
You know, sweetheart, will do anything. Yeah, thank you, Kieth. And
I love her.
all she is a team player, you know, and that's who you want when you know, and she's good. So, you know, why wouldn't you have her in there?
Carol with an E, she was.
Yes, Carol with an E.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that. What's the story?
So I unfortunately lost my grandmother in June right before I did this. And we were all out to dinner. So it was always Carol without an E. And my grandmother, everybody would always, it's funny because Carol in the movie owns a coffee shop and bakes the loaf. My grandmother, everybody went to her house for coffee and she baked. So it was like a weird, interesting thing. So it was a little Easter egg, and we were out to dinner and I was like, could we maybe? And both of these two were immediately like, yes. And then it was changed everywhere instantly. So it's a really cool kind of like honor thing that's in like film forever.
I'm so glad I noted it. I noticed it because now you got to share that with us. We love those kinds of stories. And let's see, these are some comments now. Now, if there's anything any of you would like to share that we haven't hit upon, or Kathy, if you have a question, just go right ahead. Otherwise, I'm just scrolling through here to share some stuff.
I do, and I think this might be for John, but maybe for Dustin or Kieth. Have you ever been involved with a Hallmark movie that you really thought deserved a sequel?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's hey, elephant in the room. Listen, Biltmore Christmas wants a sequel. Or a follow-up or a franchise idea, because that place is magical. And now that the beautiful script that Marcy Holland gave us with the time travel aspect, holy smokes, look what you could do with that.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm not allowed to say any more other than, you know, that I wish that they do one. I don't know what Dustin thinks or can say.
I will just say I do hope that they do one.
Okay.
I can say that. the ratings have not yet come in, but I actually hope one of my passion projects and greatest thrills ever was getting to make the Christmas Quest.
Yeah.
And I love the chemistry of Lacey and Chris, and I would love for there to be a potential sequel to the Christmas Quest. And
Same writer, by the way.
Yes, same writer. Mars, well, of the Biltmore movies.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So the live will come Tuesday, right? Tomorrow, I think the live should
I
come out.
believe
Right?
so, but there's so much streaming now and so much recording that really they wait for everything to come in because that adds. You might only get, you get a third to a half more now with the apps and your streaming and everything like that. So it'll really be more about what comes in at the end of the week.
So we keep talking about streaming and whatnot. We keep hearing that cable, we're not trying to be a downer. It's just something that we've been finding, we as fans, and hearing that cable's like on the decline because streaming is on the rise.
Yeah.
And like something like it was 30%, but it's a little bit higher now. But I like Hallmark Plus. That's their new streaming system. I love it. Unfortunately, people in Canada are sad because they can't get it there because of licensing rights and whatever. So, yay for
That's
streaming.
ironic since the majority of the films are shot up there.
I know.
Yeah.
We know. They say that. They're so they're all shot here. We can't even, they don't even get to see all the Hallmark movies either unless they come on like the W, I think. And I forget what the other channel is, the Heart and something.
It's very smart that Hallmark's doing this and that they launched their app to get ahead of everything because, it's going to be around for a while, and I hate to say it, but cable is in decline. People are cutting the cord, but what's taking that place is the streaming and the on-demand. So I think the same amount of eyeballs are watching everything. It's just how it's disseminated, how they get to watch it. So it's very smart. And of course, with anything new, there's hiccups, but I think they're having a very successful year and a very successful launch of the app. And I think it's something we just need to embrace because that's just the wave of the future. And there's still going to be people that watch cable and still people that embrace the app, but that's going to be what it is. And I'm really glad that they're trying to get ahead of it. And so, I'm glad that they're trying to come to the party early or on time as opposed to late. So I'm actually very happy that they're doing that. So
me too. One of the things that I like about it is that they have, of course, there's cable's locked into, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? And so many days in a year, 365. But when you have like a streaming system, who cares? You could just pick and choose what you want because there's like tons and tons of things. And they have original content that is like amazing. The Chicken Sisters and Mistletoe Murders. And so me personally, Kathy, you've been watching too. I love it. I think it's great. I'm loving it. Now, I wanted to share Biltmore 2. Everyone was saying, love, love, love that movie. And I wanted to show you this. They're loving Christmas Quest, another amazing movie. Yep. Nice. You guys are doing it. And then Robin says, we watch on the W network up here in Canada, and I live in Vancouver where lots are shot. So hopefully one day things change for us to watch. Yes. We're rooting for that for you too.
That's Robin S14. She's very active in your chat.
She is. Yeah. She is. Yes.
I think, if they're not able to get things on the app, they'll still have programmers that are able to buy the content. Every country is its own region when you sell a project. So, and things are constantly changing. Eventually, I'm sure they'll get access to either that or whatever app they come up with there,
Yeah. And okay, guys, this was great. You've been talking. Are you tired for like almost an hour?
Fantastic.
An hour.
Did we plug everybody we need to plug? Let's just
do it.
For your next project, if you need two middle-aged, mature women to sit in the coffee shop and sip cocoa and wave to the lead actors as they go by, just remember.
That's your request. That's all there is.
Yeah.
From the trailer.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake.
Mineral water.
If it's 110 degrees, forget it. I'm not coming. I don't care who's on. No.
Easily done.
People are from tropical climates, so
you just got to remind us. That's all.
Okay.
If you hear we're employed again, the three of us, then reach out.
Yeah, currently unemployed.
Yeah, currently unemployed. Yeah.
Well, it is the holidays, Keith. You have to have some downtime for
Yeah.
God's sake.
Yeah.
Did we find out or hear what next projects are coming up?
No.
I can tell you, Keith is going to be plenty busy after the new year. There is
Really?
Keith will always have a job
yeah.
at the Hallmark Channel, whether or not Dustin and I are involved. He will always have a job.
I believe it.
But Keith, remember what I said about how you're in my contract?
Yes.
Okay. Hint, hint.
Put you in mind.
You're there.
I'm like, do I even have a contract?
Keyword reciprocity.
Yes.
Or Dustin, you can alternate.
Okay, copy.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right.
Now, John, will you post or Dustin, will you post ratings? I know I can access them too, but
I don't know how to get them, so Dustin knows how to get them.
Things, if something's special, I generally post it on my Facebook. If we have a good ratings year on some of our films, I'll post the ones that were extra special.
So what Hallmark did with Nielsen, what they did was they have like this one link, and I shared it on different podcasts, and it has all of the movies. I think there's 41 this year on the Hallmark Channel, all of them listed in time with their slots, and they put the ratings up. But I do believe that they're just the live. It's not the the whole thing with the streaming and the +7 and all of that.
Yeah. I don't know what they do with that. I mean, I've seen what you're talking about. I can't remember if it's just the Nielsen day one or if it's the +3s or the +7s or
Now, Cindy says, I'm going to Kansas City in about 2 weeks. Any good barbecue places that you may have tried?
Cindy, if you're going to Kansas City, Putch can talk about the barbecue, but I don't know if you all know this, but Hallmark is doing their Christmas experience for 3 more weekends.
That's why she's going.
And I think it might be during the week too, but that's why she's going. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
then I just saw it and it's just an experience to behold. But Putch is a foodie and Putch can tell you about the barbecue.
Well, I got to tell you, everyone said go to the barbecue, go to the barbecue, go to the barbecue. We went to one barbecue place, and it was Jack's something or other. Jack Stack. And but there's there's so many famous ones there, but we were like going to all the foodie-ish other places most of the time.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of good restaurants there.
Yeah, a lot of good restaurants around the Crown Center. I mean, we were like, what?
Yeah, I was blown away by just how many good ones there were.
Actually. Yeah, our favorite was an Italian restaurant called Farina. Okay.
Yes.
And they they have a raw bar there with shrimp cocktail, and I'm not kidding you. The shrimp were this big.
Yeah.
And
they're like mini lobsters.
gorgeous food, and beautiful oysters, and delicious entrees. We were there like twice a week. It was so good.
James Beard Award winner.
Loved it. There were so many others, and then the Golden Ox for a steak and an old fashioned is a famous place, the Golden Ox. So
and was it for a great drink though? Great cocktail. Was it Tom's Town? Is it Tom's Town?
Yeah, Tom's Town Distillery.
Yes,
I still have a bottle I brought back home with me that I cherish. I like to sip it.
Yeah,
I try to make it last. It was good.
Keith,
good food there.
You said you were in a coffee shop. Was that when you were there? Like, is it a cute place that we should visit, or you don't even?
I was in a coffee shop.
I thought you said that. Maybe I misunderstood. You were having a conversation, I thought, about the Carol thing, weren't you?
Oh no, the character Carol owns a coffee shop.
That's
in Independence, and it's like a real breakfast place. But barbecue, Jack Stacks, and also I enjoyed Q34 as well.
That's it. That was the other one. That's where the players go, actually.
Q. We're going to put that on there. Q34.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? The letter Q.
Yeah.
And Jack Stack.
And what was the other one that you loved? Jack's what?
Jack Stacks or Stack. Is it with an S? I don't know.
STACK or K? I don't know. Jack.
Yeah.
Stack.
It's right behind the Union Station in that little enclave of restaurants.
Okay. All right. I'll put it in there and then people can see. Well, this has been delightful. So
Thanks, Roxanne. Thanks, Kathy.
Yes.
A
Go ahead.
quick plug for those that don't know. Hopefully, I don't know if it's on the app yet. These movies that all aired this weekend, but if not, and you haven't seen it, and hopefully you'll check it out on the channel. But if not, and you have Peacock. Peacock carries the Hallmark channel, and after it airs, you can stream it on demand for 3 days after it airs. So I think Holiday Touchdown has 1 or 2 days left. Christmas Quest has 2 days left. So does Finish Line. So check them out on there if you don't have the app and haven't had a chance to catch it on the channel itself, because they have a deal with Hallmark, and it is Hallmark that's playing on that particular channel. So,
and there's a bunch of movies on Netflix now from last season.
Biltmore is
Biltmore's on Netflix, and some of Dustin's and Keith's on Netflix Christmas as well. Yep.
And I personally actually like to rewatch them because I like to see them without commercials. So it doesn't disturb the storyline too much. So I already rewatched Touchdown.
Nice.
Oh, all right.
I hadn't seen it at all. I mean, that thing was under lock and key.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched it live. It was really hard to watch commercials, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I'm used to just fast forwarding through them. It's hard to watch something live.
I'm old school in that we've all seen the movie 300 times, but there is nothing for me like the first night it airs and actually seeing it with the commercials. Knowing a couple million people are watching it, I still get the feels. I still get the tingles.
I get in touch with my younger child during commercials. We go get snacks or go to the restroom. So commercials don't bother me anymore.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you like Hallmark Channel.
True.
Because there's a 2-hour movie. It's actually the running time is 86 minutes.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, it's an amazing amount of commercials.
I know, but that's okay. I mean, hey, ad revenue. You need to.
Yeah.
Will you guys come back and see us again?
Anytime.
Yeah.
You should get some of the cast on here. Did you do a cast one yet?
No, but we do. I do different things. I mix it up. I've had cast members on for different shows and whatnot, but for this one, I didn't even bother not to do it, only because everybody else was. But I wanted to be able to talk about the making of it. So.
Well, appreciate that, and congratulations for being the only person to have the creative team on. That wasn't in front of the camera. I mean, you're it. You've done it. You win. You know?
I just thought of one more question.
Oh.
Do you guys ever keep or do blooper reels or gag reels for the Hallmark movies?
We're going so fast, and usually a blooper is usually somebody yelling some explicative, So it's kind of like, no, there really hasn't been that many, hey, lean over to script supervisor and say, put that on the blooper reel. Yeah. And no one would have time to cut it together. So, but visit my Facebook page. You might see some entertaining, humorous behind the scenes videos.
And that's also the nice thing about the app, though. They're ever evolving, and that actually might be a place where you can see stuff like that. And that's a great idea, Kathy. I'll bring that up. We'll bring that up to our network friends.
Do it, because people look for that.
Yeah.
True.
John, tell us again your Facebook name.
Putch Films. FILMS Films. Yeah.
How about you, Dustin? Do you have a?
It's just my name, Dustin Rikert. Yep. Okay. Just
Keith?
me.
Keith _costumes.
Yeah.
Costumes is basically my last name.
Yeah.
I was wondering when you're going to just legally change it.
Literally,
I get that a lot.
He IDs what he does in his name.
There you go.
Just to make sure you know.
We know. All right, we're gonna say goodnight, and then we can just say goodnight after I end. So good night, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Good night. Thank you so much. Enjoyed it.